Hello, and welcome back to Paper, Pages, and Possibilities. This is actually the second time I am filming this video. The first time, the camera was pointed that way. So, I get to do this all over again. But I do have a very exciting video, at least for me, a very exciting video today. Last weekend, I had the opportunity to go to a local author conference and book fair and had an awesome time, better than I expected. I went there for both the conference and the book fair. The conference, I got much more out of it than I expected to. It was geared toward authors and giving them some resources, some information to help them in their writing journeys. And I got a lot out of it. Like, I learned about the publishing industry, like the process of publishing, whether you go to one of the big top 5 publishers or a indie publisher or self-publish, and kind of learned about that process. That was fascinating. And then there was also a speaker who talked about different resources that the public libraries have for authors. And they specifically pointed out a lot of databases that the library has available online for authors to look into, like if they're like into historical writing, being able to look at like original sources, newspaper articles, pictures, things like that. That's one resource. And then there was another one that had like descriptions of folklore around the world. That one I plan to delve into myself. It sounded fascinating. So, like, all in all, it was just a really awesome experience at the conference, and then the book fair was even better. So I am going to show you my little haul from this book fair. It was such a pleasure. I got to meet all of the authors for the books that I'm going to show you today. Each of these books is signed by them, and I look forward to reading these books for a couple reasons. One, most of them are fantasy or sci-fi, like they're in the genres that I do enjoy. And 2, these are local authors. So these are authors local to my area in Oklahoma, and I feel proud knowing that these authors are here, and I'm excited to show them to you and hopefully give them a little bit more exposure to help their success. I know right now this is still a small channel, but you know, every little bit that I can do to help, I'm happy to do so. So, without further ado, I will go through these books in no particular order. But first off, we have Pumpkin Spice Meltdown. This one is by Kate Minty. This one is actually next up on my TBR. I just finished a book, so I'm going to be starting this one today because it is around Thanksgiving is where the story takes place, so this is perfect time to read it. But I will go ahead and read the back of the book for you. Natalie has high hopes for her move across the country to start a new life with her boyfriend. Those plans hit a snag the moment her flight lands, and she finds out he is married. Now devastated and wishing she owned more elastic waist pants, Natalie does her best to get off her great-aunt's couch and put the pieces of her life back together. But the world is hard and the couch is soft. During one of her meltdowns, she is reminded that she volunteered to host her family's big Thanksgiving get-together. That's the last thing she wants to do right now, but she would rather give up coffee forever than let her sister-in-law host instead of her. All she has to do is swallow her feelings and schedule her mental breakdown for the weekend after Thanksgiving. It's a completely logical, flawless plan. What could go wrong? A picture-perfect Thanksgiving should be possible with careful planning and the help of an annoying family friend who unfortunately is kind of hot. She's determined to show everyone that she has everything under control, even when nothing seems to go to plan. Pumpkin Spice Meltdown is a cozy, low-stakes rom-com that's as sweet and comforting as a pumpkin spice latte. So, I'm very excited to read this. Next up, we have The Code of Noble Dragonfire by Allexis McLean. This is geared toward young adults and actually written by a young adult. I don't know her age, but I believe she's a teenager. And so I'm really excited to read this work, and it's exciting to me that she's already published a novel at her young age, and I can't wait to see what else she does, where she goes from here. But this book, let's see, the back of the book says, Rocket hates being a dragonling stuck in the peasant class. If only he could be recognized by the gods and gain glory. After a foreign country invades his homeland for mysterious reasons, he finally gets to do just that. The royal class recruits him and other dragons to be spies. While on a dangerous mission, he crosses paths with the enemy, but everything is not as it seems. And now he chooses to go on another mission, to find the harrowing truth that will shake his entire world. So, dragons, can't go wrong with that. Let's see here, it's got some illustrations in here as well, looks like. So, yeah, some pretty cool illustrations. So, I am looking forward to this one. Next up, we have another fantasy. I believe this one is also geared toward young adults. It's called A Story Unwritten by Jennifer Sneed. Love this cover, beautiful cover. And the back of this book says, Cora Frances Burns Noland, a woefully unladylike and impetuous oil baron's daughter, can think of nothing but avoiding the dreaded Boston Academy for admirable young ladies. The sudden demand that she become a fine young lady has set the 11-year-old's carefree life off kilter, but her plans to prevent it are interrupted when a fortune-hunting medium with a knack for potions cons her way into her father's life. Cora unmasks the woman, but it makes no difference. After a whirlwind wedding, the medium turns Cora's 6 brothers into hawks, and Cora escapes through the mansion's secret tunnels. Pestilence and calamity. Cora never wished for pursuit, danger, and brothers with feathers. All she wanted was time to grow up on her own schedule. Trading her voice to a fairy on the prairie for the counter curse to save her brothers, she must craft magical shirts for them before the blue moon rises or lose her family and her voice forever. By accepting new challenges, finding new allies, and muddling through a new way of life, this little princess on the prairie might do more than save her brothers. She might find the tenacity and spirit to become the author of her own fantastic life story. This is actually a fairy retelling. It's a fairy tale I'm not familiar with. It's a retelling of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale, The Wild Swans. And this retelling takes place in Oklahoma in 1925. So I am looking forward to this one. I'm tempted to read the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale first, so that way I have a little bit of context going into the book and see what the differences are and the similarities. So that's my plan. So I will report back on this. I'm excited. This one looks really good too. All right. Next up, we have an anthology. This one is called As We Convene, and this the author that I got this from is Casie Bazay. So she has written one of the stories that is in this anthology. Her story, she said, is a horror. However, the rest of the stories look like they're kind of in a range of genres. But I will read the back of the book. This is sounds really fascinating to me. The Moors of Wuthering Heights, the Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz, the Blackwood Mansion in We Have Always Lived in the Castle, the planet Uriel in A Wrinkle in Time. Many stories that stand the test of time have a central place at the crux of the plot, a main locale. These places are so central, they seem to transfigure themselves into one of the main characters. The locale grows and shifts, becoming the focus, the place in which the plot hinges and the characters thrive. The locale becomes integral to the story, so much so that it is impossible to set the story anywhere else. In this anthology, 16 varied locales have been gathered to visit. From outer space to the Grand Canyon, from Florida swamps to the orange groves of California, the setting of these stories takes center stage. The collected stories here range across genre from speculative to more contemporary works. Each story will bring you into a world, maybe similar to our own, maybe different. Either way, you'll feel well-traveled after exploring these beautiful locales. So this sounds really good. I'm a big fan of books where the place is just as big a figure as the characters. And I read one recently, what was it? Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. The world to me was just as fascinating as the story. So that's, high on my list. Next up, we have Fated Born by Kristin Hamblin. This is a fantasy, and the back of this one reads, "What happens if you fall in love in a world where love doesn't exist? Yesterday, Leda was Artenis's friend. Today, she's the love of his life, and he can't tell her. Artenis's human emotions weren't meant to awaken prematurely. Watchers are supposed to resist the charm of mortals' magic kingdoms and court intrigue. The punishment is exile, denying him the beauty of a mortal life. He can't get caught, and he can't risk awakening Leda's emotions. While she remains oblivious, he is in torment, struggling to find his new place in the world alone. But love cannot exist without hate. Yesterday, the council could do no wrong. Today, Artenis sees corruption among them, something he never would have recognized before. Someone is plotting to prevent the first ever Fae from being born. If Artenis can't uncover the source of the corruption while hiding his human emotions, the realm's ability to provide souls to the mortal world will be destroyed. Everyone, including Leda, is at risk." And this is actually the first of a series. I don't recall how many are in it, but I think 3. I think it's a trilogy currently. I don't know if it'll be more than that, but looking forward to reading this one. And then finally, this one is a sci-fi novel called King of the Shore Invasion by Eryn Adams. And this one says the year is 726 ICT. The Scotian Empire has launched another invasion, this time to the distant colony of Charon. The Charon separatists continue to resist Scotia's professional legions through a mysterious technology known only to few. A technology that, once plundered, will make the Empire invincible. Professional gambler, martial artist, and renegade lawyer Marcus Bass cares little for Scotia's war. However, he cares a great deal for what a portion of Charon's plunder will gain him in his personal war against the Scotian Consate. And more singularly, his half-brother, Senator Hayden Bass, the Lord Ark Regma. His quest takes him to Charon's shores and unexpectedly into the heart of Charon's intelligence network, where he wakes with no memory of his past and no knowledge that he is an infiltrator on a mission to destroy their civilization. Shortly returned from the edge of death, Marcus finds himself face to face with Charm's fabled king. Soon he will stand on the shore of a decision that will determine the destiny of the universe. Another fascinating one. And I like all of these books. The stories just really drew me, and I'm excited to read them. So I feel like they're going to be fairly quick on my TBR, with the exception of a few Christmas books coming up. So I am looking forward to seeing how I enjoy these books, and then letting you know about my experience with them and sharing these authors with you. I will leave links down below to the authors' websites for all of these books that I have shown today. If you have any thoughts about the books that I have shown today, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I also love a like if you like the content today, and if you would subscribe, I would be eternally grateful and would love to have you as part of this book community that is growing slowly but surely. In the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.